Welcome
Thanks for
to
listening.
another episode
Make sure
of
you
the
visit www.capbreedingforbeginners.com.
I'm Pamela and I breed British Shorthairs in Perth,
articles, guides, courses,
I have
and
a real
more.
passion
Plus,
for cat
make sure
breeding
you
and
check out
exhibiting,
my
and I want to share my
amazing
knowledge
New
and
Cat Breeders
experience
Club.
with you.
It's a
I'm on a
supportive
mission
space
to
where
help
new
new
cat breeders can
learn,
learn,
share,
share,
and
and help each other.
intimidated,
I only take
confused,
new
and having
members a
trouble
few
getting
times a
started
year, so
to
sign up
confidently
to make
breeding
sure you
happy
don't
and
miss out.
healthy cats whilst enjoying this amazing hobby.
Before we get started, make sure you visit my website and download your copy of my helpful guide, Advice to New Breeders, where experienced breeders share some great tips they wish someone told them when they started breeding. You can find the link on my homepage at www.catbreedingforbeginners.com. Just look for the picture of Angelica with her kittens. I want to talk to you about something that happened to me nearly 20 years ago now. So back in 2004, it was probably 2005, I got a cat. I had two cats that didn't like each other, and I wanted to get another female so that I could have a litter because my girl didn't really like my boy. And I also had a young female, but she wasn't going to be ready for a little while. So I went looking for a new cat, and back then we only had a few options. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have a lot of things actually. We had email lists and we had Yahoo groups and things like that instead. So I found myself a female, and she was on the other side of Australia, and I made arrangements for her to be sent to Perth. When she arrived, there was, and I've told this story before, when she arrived there was a few problems with her. She was skinny, she had her backbone showing, and she also needed to be vaccinated. So I took her in and we got her vaccinated. And when she was eating, she was dropping her food on the side. So obviously something was going on with her mouth. So we took her in, and it turned out she had a broken tooth that was hurting her, and we had to have that tooth removed. So she went under anaesthetic and had the surgery on that. Then she got fat, which I thought was great because she had been quite skinny, but she kept getting fat. And then I realised she was actually pregnant. So the reason I had got this cat was to have a mating to my male to have kittens for me that season. And the choice was taken away from me. So I think that was something that was quite upsetting at the time, because I had bought this cat all the way to Perth with a purpose, and that purpose I could no longer do because she would come to me pregnant. And also the breeder had told me the reason that she was selling this cat was because she was no longer breeding British Shorthair and she was going to continue breeding ragdolls. So I had this horrible, realization that maybe I was about to have a litter of British mixed with ragdolls for my second litter. This was only my second litter. So it was really stressful. I got in touch with the breeder, and it turned out she at first she was like, oh, that's great news. I don't think she clicked that it maybe wouldn't have been what I wanted and the purpose of, getting that cat, which I told her about before. And then I asked her, well, who's the dad? And she said it was her cat Alfie, and I had to ask her, what breed is he? And she said, he's British. And I said, well, I thought you sold your British stud. And she said, no, I had two. So it was a British Shorthair litter. The thing about it was, though, that, like I said, the choice of what I wanted to do with this cat was taken away from me. Now, looking back on it today, I don't regret it because I got an amazing line of cats from it. Rosie was a fantastic mum. And from that particular mating, I got my Katie and my Ricky, and they made a massive contribution to my breeding program. Katie's still with us. And sitting on the table next to me now is Angelica. And Angelica, I think, is her great-great-granddaughter, and an amazing, stunning-looking cat. So very, very happy with what it actually gave me in the end, but not happy that there was a couple of things that I then had to deal with. First of all, I had to deal with the fact that my choice was taken away from me. I didn't get to choose what I was doing with this cat. It was just forced upon me. The second thing was didn't have a due date. When I asked about what had happened, I got this familiar story. Oh, my grandson must have let them in together. There must be, I don't know what it is with grandchildren running around in people's houses letting their cats all in together. Is that what goes on? I don't know. It seems to be a lot of that happening. But yeah, that was the story. And of course, no one wrote the date down or anything like that. And no one had any idea. And this cat just came over and I just had to guess when she was going to give birth. In my second litter. And I remember thinking, this is terrible. I can't believe this happened to me. And I thought it was kind of a one-off thing. And over the years, I've not really thought too much about it. But since I started my new cat breeders club, I've realised this is actually still a thing. It is happening a lot. In the last month, we've had 3 people who've bought cats from other breeders and have just suddenly realised they're pregnant. And that means that, again, the choice was taken away from them as to who they were going to mate this cat to. And also they just had no idea of due dates. And for some of them, it's also been a problem because they haven't been able to register the kittens. Because the person has, for whatever reason, it's not a registerable litter. And if you go back and listen to my podcast on oops matings, you'll understand more about that. So this is really problematic, and I can't believe it's still going on. And I was sort of reflecting on that this morning and thinking why that might be the case. And really, I think it comes down to when you're a new breeder, you will purchase an entire female because it gets you to where you want to go faster. And when you're a new breeder, you don't have a lot of opportunities to buy cats because people won't sell them to you because they don't know who you are and you've not proved anything to them. So you're more likely to get the cats from people that they've started breeding and realised they've made a mistake and they're selling off all their breeding cats. Or, they can't manage their cats properly, so they're selling off the cats they can't manage. And this is kind of why the problems are arising, because the people that you're getting these cats from in the first place are not doing a good job of breeding, basically. They don't have their breeding under control. They don't have their cats housed properly. They don't have, the situation is not good. But what I have found since working with new breeders is that sometimes these people are the only people that you can get your first initial cats from. And if you think back to me all those years ago, remember what I said. This was a lady who was going out of breeding British Shorthair. So she was selling off her breeding cats. And whether or not I agree with that or not, I don't know. I mean, it obviously did me a big favour at the time. But these people that are behaving in that way, because for me, if I was going out of breeding, I would find pet homes. I would de-sex and find pet homes for all my cats. When I finish breeding from a female, I de-sex her and I find her a pet home. I don't sell her on to somebody else. Even if it's a cat that I only have 1 litter from, sometimes I have cats that are stepping stone cats and I just have the 1 litter from them. I don't then sell that cat to someone else to breed from. I still retire that cat and find it a pet home. So for me, I think with established breeders, we buy kittens. We buy breeding kittens, really. We don't necessarily buy breeding cats. There is a bit of movement there is still a bit of movement in that way though. You might do something to help somebody else out, it's somebody you know, all of those kind of factors come into it. But when it comes to just, people that when you're a brand new breeder, you're probably going to be buying from people that aren't that great. And this is where the problem arises. And the thing about it that really upsets me the most is you're really setting up this person who's brand new to be really stressed out. Because one of the examples in our new cat breeders club is someone who has not had a litter yet. And the cat that they got, they actually adopted this cat because they were doing somebody else a favour who was going out of breeding and wasn't able to find homes for the cats. So they took the cats in to give them a home. And it turns out that, one cat that they had planned to put with their male is already pregnant. And no idea of a due date. 2-week window. 2-week window when this cat could have been mated. And when they went to get the cats, they were just all running in together, so it's just bad behaviour that's turned into somebody else's problem. And it's a problem for a new person. So to give that problem to someone like me, if I had a cat come to me that was pregnant, I would know all the signs, I would know what was going on, and I could probably work it out to very close to when the cat was due. And I wouldn't be stressed out when the cat was having its kittens either because I've had a lot of litters before. But here's someone who is brand new, never had a litter of kittens before, has no due date, doesn't know what to expect, is going to be stressed enough worrying about having the first litter, but has to worry about when this is happening. I don't know, I haven't asked, but I should ask. I don't even know if this person had more than one boy. I don't know if we know who the father is. The other situation was tragic because the person that got the pregnant female had the litter, and this was a new breeder who had some litters before, so that part of it wasn't super stressful. And I'm not sure, I think she might have even known when the kittens were due, but she had no control over the mating. So she didn't do the mating, she just inherited this cat already pregnant, and then lost the whole litter, which DNA testing is pending, but is possibly because the cat had the wrong blood type. So she inherited, not only did she inherit someone else's problem, and the idea that this one was sold knowing that it was pregnant too, which is, she got to choose about that fact. She got to decide whether she wanted to go ahead with that fact, but she didn't get to choose them. She didn't plan and do the mating. And so this time the problem was that there was probably a mismatch in the blood type. So all of these are cases where breeders that are selling these cats to new people are selling them problems. And they're selling them problems that they, either know about or don't know about, but are still problems. And I just think there should be just some more transparency in this. If you do need to do this, if there is a chance the cat's pregnant, you need to tell the person who's getting the cat. You need to let them make a choice about what they want to do. But I think that's the thing that's upsetting me the most, is that these people don't have the choice. The choice has been taken away from them. They're just inheriting these cats with problems. And I just think that's really unfair. And I think it's a really sad reflection on our hobby that this happened to me, in 2005, and it's still happening to people today in 2023, sorry. It's a long time. It's a long time, and it's still going on. And I just think it's unacceptable behaviour. I don't know. I don't feel like those people are necessarily listening to this podcast though, but I do know there's people listening to this podcast that are new breeders, established breeders as well, but there's a lot of new breeders. And what I want you to learn today is that if you do buy a mature female, it is a great option. And I do talk about this as an option in videos that I have on my YouTube channel. I talk about this to my new cat breeders in my club all the time. It's definitely an option for you to buy a female from someone who is selling an entire female. But you need to realise that the people that are selling entire females just to anyone who wants to buy them are not good quality breeders. I'm sorry if that offends people out there, but it's true. They are not good quality breeders. And because of that, you need to do extra work. You need to do extra due diligence. You need to do extra to make sure that this is going to be okay. When you get that female, you need to ask, is there any chance at all that this cat could be pregnant? Any chance at all? And then if there is a chance, you need to make sure that that litter of kittens can be registered. And you also need to make sure that they know which boy it is, or that you know which boy it is, and that you're okay with the fact that this might be happening. And you also need to find out if there's any chance that there's dates that you need to know about. It's a risk when you buy a cat like this. It's a risk, and you need to be willing to take those risks when you're doing it. You need to be, maybe you won't get all the information. Maybe you will end up having a cat that's pregnant. Maybe you will end up having a cat that's pregnant and you don't know when it's due. And maybe you will end up having a cat that's pregnant and has kittens that you can't register. They could even be mixed breeds. They could even be mixed with a domestic. You don't know any of this stuff. You need to be prepared for that when you're buying an entire female. I just think it's important to make an informed decision about what you're doing. I'm not saying it's the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm just saying that you need to think about these things before it happens. And you need to ask as many questions as you can so that you have that information if this eventuates. But if you do get a cat and it is pregnant and you do need some help, there's always my new cat breeders club, because let me tell you, there's a few people in there that have experienced the very same thing and will be very willing to help you out. You can find out more information on my website at www.catbreedingforbeginners.com. My club is normally closed for new members because I do have to be very careful about how many people are in there so that I can help everybody, but I do let people in on a regular basis as well. Okay, well, that's my rant over for today. I want people to stop doing that, but I don't think I can have any impact on that whatsoever. But but I do think I can have an impact on the people that might be affected by it, which are new breeders buying cats from people that when they're buying an entire female. So hopefully that gives you something to think about before you make that decision. Okay, bye for now.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you visit www.catbreedingforbeginners.com where you can find articles, guides, courses and more. Plus, make sure you check out my amazing New Cat Breeders Club. It's a supportive space where new cat breeders can learn, share and help each other. I only take new members a few times a year, so sign up to make sure you don't miss out.